The acting police chief of Dalton now facing federal charges. The grand jury indicted him on bankruptcy fraud charges today.
So Lightfoot's investigation, at least according to trustees, is back on now.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard last night wasting no time shutting down trustees and critics.
The veto message is related to the secret squirrel means yes.
Last month, at a late emergency meeting, the board adopted a resolution calling for a federal probe into the mayor.
It's a great day in Dalton. Justice is being served.
Elston has been the assessor here at Thornton Township for the past 10 years. An elected position that helps residents deal with exemptions and property tax appeals. But when she arrived at work this morning, something strange happened.
This was your office?
Yes.
What happened when you tried to open it?
It doesn't work.
Not only had Elston been locked out of her own office, but boxes of sensitive documents that she kept in her office were spread around the common area.
This was under lock and key before.
This was under lock and key.
And now it's just out in the open?
The shocking news was just released. Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard has been taken into custody by the FBI. If you've been following the developing scandal, you may recall stories about her lavish shopping trips and lavish vacations, all of which were financed by dubious wire transfers. Now, authorities are saying that she has turned the town's money into a mountain of debt. Yes, this enormous amount of debt accumulated under her leadership is nearly unthinkable, but the investigation into her actions has reached a truly shocking level. Federal agents executed a search warrant at her home, and what they discovered was nothing short of astounding. A treasure trove of unanticipated delights stashed in safes, the probe is being bolstered by evidence, making people wonder how deeply misdeeds will truly stick with us when we analyze the most recent events and raising eyebrows to find the shocking information the rear. In case you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to click the button and ring the bell to ensure you don't miss any updates as we examine these startling findings and what they represent for Hen and Dalton as future. To put it simply, this is not your average small-town scandal, and the narrative is going to get crazy. Tiffany Henyard was spending her time like a Kardashian, living the high life. As the town she was supposed to be serving was going into financial ruin and the FBI was pursuing her, Dalton's finances were about to go into a complete meltdown. Picture this: designer handbags, lavish vacations around the world, and a security detail that costs more than most people's entire living expenses. The FBI has enough evidence to bring criminal charges against Henyard, who appears to have been living lavishly off of the hard-earned money of Dalton's people. As the investigation progresses, more scandalous revelations are emerging. However, the investigation is still ongoing, and it's unclear how deep this rabbit hole goes. The main question now is how much more is concealed behind the opulent lifestyle Henyard was leading. Will she be able to talk her way out of the mounting evidence, or will this be the end of her time as mayor? One thing is certain though, the drama is only getting started. The residents of Dalton have been waiting for answers, and they will soon have them. The FBI is pursuing Henyard closely, so you won't want to miss what comes next.
Thornton Township have trust issues, refusing to second a motion by Tiffany Henyard to get routine township bills paid.
I motion that we pay the bills for the general fund. Is there a second? Motion is second.
I had trouble following it as well, but now Keith Freeman is cooperating, doing what he should have been done in the first place.
Cooperating with trustees.
With the trustees, absolutely.
The most notorious mayor of Dalton, Tiffany Henyard, has changed dramatically over the past few months. She went from being a lightning rod for controversy to almost vanishing from the public eye, even though it seemed inevitable that she would fail. The drama surrounding her is far from over, though, as rumors circulate that she has pulled a Houdini, hiding and trying to hide her tracks, perhaps in an attempt to avoid the increasing scrutiny that is catching up with her. However, let's face it, how long can she really stay hidden before the authorities, especially the FBI, catch up with her? Frantic reign with lots of blunders, scandals, and accusations are now coming to light, and it's difficult to watch everything unfold without reaching for some popcorn to absorb the drama. Is she fleeing, or is she just avoiding attention to avoid the heat? One thing is certain though, the people of Dalton in particular are tired of Tiffany Henyard's antics, and the Board of Trustees appears to have reached a breaking point, indicating that it's time to turn the tables on her. The community and the general public are eagerly anticipating the final showdown. Has clearly said for a long time that she solely values her own viewpoint, frequently ignoring the interests and concerns of the people she was elected to represent. As a result, she has alienated both locals and political followers. The most recent round of this saga is a powerful reminder of how far apart she has become from people who used to defend her. In an apparent attempt to reclaim some measure of control or public support, Henyard recently held a town meeting. However, in a move that must have hurt her pride, not a single member of the Board of Trustees showed up, and the meeting's empty seats were a strong message. When the board decided to stop following her regulations, they sent her a dosage of her own medicine. The fact that he disregarded her requests for involvement and made it apparent that they were done with her leadership is a significant turning point in her political career. It serves as a clear reminder of how far she has fallen from grace. The tensions have escalated to a boiling point, and her credibility and authority are in ruins. The Board of Trustees, once a vital pillar of her administration, has also shown its disapproval, indication of the larger political IEL and public fallout she's dealing with, as she finds herself alone and attempting to regain her footing as the community watches with bated breath. Many are wondering if Tiffany Henyard can salvage anything from this unraveling mess, or if her political career is truly on its last legs. The drama is far from over, but it's becoming more and more obvious that the town of Dalton has reached its limit, and the people are demanding. It is unclear whether Heather Henyard can weather the storm or if this is the beginning of the end for her political career, but one thing is certain. The people of Dalton are ready to see her held accountable for her actions as the drama unfolds. The tension is palpable, and it appears that she is losing the ability to avoid the consequences of her actions.
Supervisor Tiffany Henyard wanted the Board of Trustees to approve some events that she wants the township to pay for, but none of the trustees showed up for this.
One who is never scared by a board snub taking the stage, Tiffany Henyard, in usual flair, turned the incident into her own soap drama. She openly asserted that all of the hostility was directed towards her alleged wonderful rule, and that the entire corruption scandal was a part of a major propaganda attempt to undermine it. She said, "Your super mayor became too powerful too quickly. Because of my rarity and uniqueness, everyone has issues. It's all about control." She added boldly, "This is me making my statement if you guys do not," her words brimming with defiance. Wish to listen to this, there's the door open. The people of Dalton were getting tired of Tiffany's wordplay and had enough. One of the guests cut her off with the direct remark, "We already know you're stealing from us." Tiffany was unfazed and continued to talk as if nothing had happened, firmly rooted in her own story. However, because of legal actions, her use of Dalton taxpayer funds has caused serious suspicions among the locals. Credit card information that WGN detectives were able to acquire showed that Henyard and her group ran up an incredible $67,000 in travel expenditures on Thornton Township's tab in just 5 months. But the worst part was that the total skyrocketed to nearly $100,000 when the charges made to Dalton residents were included. The rationale she offered for these costs was also not credible. Yes, you read correctly. Henyard defended her attendance at conferences by saying that she and her entourage had been occupied with them while the public's funds were being carelessly wasted. Concerning Dalton spending, Henyard and her administration have been dodging requests. Records for months, openly violating state transparency requirements, even after the Illinois Attorney General's office, under the leadership of Kwame Rowe, had demanded that the community make the documents available. Tiffany and her supporters refused to comply, and their resistance to cooperate reached a breaking point when Gilly G's parent firm filed a lawsuit in Cook County Circuit Court over the information that had been withheld. The judge's decision, despite being publicly critical of Henyard, Truss Brown disclosed that she had never received the statements, leaving the Dalton trustees to pick up the pieces, continually requesting them, although former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who was hired by the village board to look into Henyard's financial management, raised concerns early on. The town was not completely unaware of the financial chaos. Even the important players who knew the truth about Henyard's financial mismanagement were still attempting to keep it a secret from the public, knowing that the revelation would cause a commotion. Lightfoot's findings were startling. In April 2022, Dalton was not only heavily indebted, but his credit card usage had gotten out of hand. The general balance for the village was a healthy $5.6 million, but by May 2024, that amount had fallen to a $3.65 million deficit. It was clear that in the absence of adequate supervision, Henyard and her administration had disregarded financial checks and balances outright, which led to the current financial chaos the town was facing. At a meeting attended by 4 of the 6 board members who had become increasingly dissatisfied with Henry, the village board voted a resolution calling for a federal investigation into her activities, which was a turning point. There is a lot of mismanagement of funds, and we just want some clarity so we can move forward and understand what's going on with all the spending. The atmosphere was clear that the board was no longer willing to support Tiffany Hen, whose hold on the town was eroding and whose once powerful authority was eroding. The investigation gained momentum when Hen's inner circle started to fall apart, with one of her top aides officials allegedly working with her rivals, which resulted in her losing much. Noted that Henyard's choices about security payments had again demonstrated her lack of fiscal responsibility. Despite the fact that the loss of 6 police cars was a significant problem that also resulted in the loss of valuable police officers, she insisted on continuing to pay for her security detail. T didn't stop there. The village credit card was abused for personal purchases, even though it was intended to be used for reasonable purposes. Dalton's account was charged with merchandise from retailers such as Amazon, Target, Walgreens, and Wayfair by Henyard. Additionally, it was claimed that she had rented her. These financial irregularities were substantiated by the FBI's investigation and expensive property. As the pressure mounted, Henyard fled into hiding and avoided public appearances. The FBI has since demanded personnel and disciplinary files for 29 Dalton employees, as well as any contracts or payments made to Hen's assistant Keith Freeman, who also holds a similar position in Thornton Township. The FBI discovered a detailed list of her alleged corrupt activities when they raided her home. A startling accusation is that Henyard utilized public funds to compose. The community of Dalton, which was once under Tiffany Hen's control, is now demanding answers, and the truth about her alleged corruption is finally coming to light. The future of Henyard is uncertain, but one thing is certain. The public will not allow her to escape the consequences of her actions. This is evident from the $561,000 check that was given to her to repave her mother's driveway on the public's dime as the investigation continues and new evidence comes to light.
Aide to Mayor Tiffany Henyard is cooperating with her opponents, and the mayor has now been stripped of at least some power in the form of access to village money.
Following the death of longtime supervisor Frank Zipparelli, Tiffany Henyard was elected as Dalton's youngest and first female mayor in 2022. She also assumed the position of supervisor for Thornton Township, entering office with great expectations. However, in January, WGN's investigation of Henyard's spending habits revealed that she and her team had charged over $67,000 to township credit cards for out-of-town travel in just 5 months of 2023. But the situation only got worse from there. Henyard is alleged to have misused public monies for private benefit, utilizing them for everything from lavish vacation, personal security, and even the cost of her hairstylist. In July 2023, Dalton's primary assistant, Keith Freeman, and 3 other township officials amassed an astounding $22,000 in public funds during a 5-day trip to Austin, Texas. An analysis of Dalton's credit card transactions showed that an additional $33,900 was charged to village taxpayers for Hen's well-known trips to cities like New York, Atlanta, and Portland. Among the extravagant charges were $169 at the Fairmont Austin Hotel, $389 for steaks at Ruth's Chris, and $53 for sportswear for riders and $43 at Walgreens. The credit card transactions also revealed Target and Walmart purchases, $247. On Amazon, $1,425 and $3,491 for Henyard's Village's personal photographer, and $5,099 for Nearby Eating and Uber Eats. When probed about her lavish spending, it was revealed that the vehicles, which included 3 high-end SUV rentals, cost taxpayers more than $374,000. Although Henyard defended herself, she did not provide a convincing justification for using public monies. The growing her leadership and priorities have been called into doubt by many due to revelations of extravagant spending. But it's even stranger. This isn't just about a few poor choices. The way Tiffany Hen has been acting has become much more concerning. It is becoming more and more clear that she has been enjoying the high life on taxpayer money, and the matter is getting out of hand. The rumors that are circulating are absolutely dynamite. Because of Tiffany's obviously unpredictable behavior, some people think she's disappeared, perhaps in an attempt to escape the growing. She has been doubling down on her antics and refusing to take responsibility for any of her actions, according to Jason House, a well-known local figure. Henyard has been taking the Village's employees on lavish vacations, which has put Dalton in a financial hole and left us drowning in debt because she raised our taxes. House said that if you claim to have good business sense, you should take a serious look at the budget again. You work for the government and you're here to serve us, not indulge yourself. Many businesses have closed because of unresolved licensing issues. For instance, Lawrence Gardner's trucking company hasn't been operating since January 2023 after the Village accused him of selling alcohol without a license at an event. Gardner disputes these accusations, and a judge sided with him. However, he believes the charges may have been politically motivated, and the FBI has not confirmed any investigation into the matter. He has announced his intention to run for mayor in 2025, calling. Henyard Gardner says that he's among a number of business owners who were compelled by the mayor to donate $3,500 to the Village soon after she took office. He has communicated with local authorities and feels that his experience demonstrates a larger problem of corruption and coercion under Hen's leadership as more people lose faith in her administration. Many have distanced themselves from her policies, which has had a significant impact on local business operations. The atmosphere is tense, with even those closest to Henyard voicing concerns about her attitude and her unpredictable decision-making. Despite growing allegations and public outcry, Henyard's actions have left many questioning whether her leadership is sinking the Village rather than bolstering it. At a recent Take Our Township Back rally, dozens of Thornton Township residents demonstrated their defiance by calling for her resignation and a thorough investigation into her extravagant spending. The rally was a potent act of resentment motivated by a lack of accountability and transparency regarding taxpayer dollars. Henry's efforts to strictly regulate Village expenditures by limiting the approval of expenses for herself alone has only served to stoke the flames. She disputes the majority of the charges against her, claiming she has the receipts to demonstrate that her actions were. She has justified a few things she couldn't hide, but she still downplays the scandal's veracity. It's quite the web, isn't it? One observer pointed out that Hen has managed to arouse anger with her erotic behavior and refusal to own up to her mistakes. Now, more than ever, the people of Dalton are doubting her leadership, and the House is called to review the budget and make sure that the public's interests come first. Hen's extravagant lifestyle has resonated with many, and as the story progresses, it appears that Tiffany Hen's hold on power is eroding. The drama is far from over, and it remains to be seen if she can weather the storm or if her political career will collapse under the weight of these revelations. But the residents' mounting annoyance makes it obvious that her actions will no longer go unpunished.
Take a look at the budget again. You are a public servant. You serve us.
The matter is getting out of hand. Word is getting out that Tiffany has gone insane because of her acts, which are completely out of control. She keeps upping her antics and refuses to accept responsibility. The Mia, according to Jason's research, Tiffany's actions have major repercussions, as seen by the fact that she has been lavishing on lavish trips with village employees while the village is drowning in multi-million-dollar debt.
Be homeless behind her raising our taxes.
And you said that you have good business skills. Then you should take a look at the budget.
Jason felt the need and announced his candidacy for the upcoming selection of Dalton's mayor in 2025.
Today, I'm here to proudly announce my candidacy for mayor of Dalton Federal.
Each new accusation that comes her way seems to add fuel to the fire, deepening the already enormous public mistrust in her leadership. Despite the fact that the specific charges against Tiffany Henyard may differ, one thing is certain: she appears to be unfamiliar with the concept of accountability. Her constant displays of carelessness and apathy towards her actions have only served to further tarnish her reputation. Rather than face the consequences and admit her mistakes, Henyard has refrained from taking responsibility, and the tipping point came in. The Dalton board officially began looking into Hen's activities in March 2024 after she was accused of embezzling $70,000 in public funds for extravagant travel. The investigation required a detailed examination of the village's financial records, and the FBI was brought in to help with clarification during a board meeting about the investigation. The Dalton board was even accused of being a boys' club by Henyard, who rejected the investigation, saying it was a personal attack and part of a biased narrative against her. Hindering her progress out of spite, Henyard said, "As you can see, our village and community are being attacked. It's unfortunate that people can attend the meeting and only give one side of the story without hearing both sides of the issue." Former trustee Edward Steve, however, pointed out that rather than placing the blame on others, Henyard should examine herself and the situation she's created. Although she admitted to a $2 million deficit in Village Hall, other board members later disclosed that the actual deficit was much higher than what Henyard had claimed. Was one of her most well-known victims, and in addition to financial mismanagement, she has been accused of abusing her position of authority to punish and stifle opponents. Henyard allegedly purposefully formed partnerships with the police department to guarantee that allegations against her would be disregarded. According to former village trustee Valeria Stubbs, Stubbs also claimed that 2 of her tenants' cars were targeted and shot by hitmen, who was supposedly sent by Henyard, after she publicly criticized the mayor. This made the issue much more explosive. When a former Henyard assistant came forward with allegations of predatory behavior, the assistant disclosed that Henyard dismissed the concerns after discovering that a trustee on the board had harassed her, stating that making the matter public could destroy her career. Nevertheless, the assistant filed a formal complaint against Henyard. The assistant's promises of support were hollow, and after being abruptly fired and put on unpaid medical leave, it appears that Henry may have exploited police officers to intimidate locals who voiced their opposition to her. And now that she is under more federal scrutiny, Henyard is under pressure from all sides. One former assistant, Carmen Carlisle, has come forward as a whistleblower and publicly condemned Henyard's actions. Today, I'm speaking out against Thornton Township Supervisor and Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who I believe has acted unethically and predatorily during her tenure. According to Carlisle, Henyard has been exploiting her position to manipulate residents, merchants, and staff for the last 2 years. Continuing to expand her influence while presenting a phony picture of prosperity that was made possible by the diligent taxpayers of Thornton Township and Dalton. Though I believe there are many more victims who have been fired or subjected to deceit by Henyard, but haven't spoken up yet, I trusted the administration, and now I'm speaking up for myself and others who have been affected by what I perceive to be Henyard's abusive leadership. Caroline's decision to come forward as a whistleblower was driven by her dedication to justice and transparency, she explained. It's time we should demand that our township be treated better and band together to combat those who misuse their power as expected. Henyard attempted to minimize Carlisle's accusations by making fun of her newly discovered bravery, saying, "I think I'm going to get you a new nickname, Lion," Carlisle Henyard said, downplaying the seriousness of the charges. "I'm tired of everyone in here. There's always a show." With her own activities, Henyard has inadvertently become the precise personification of the corruption that she once denounced, making her the focus of a controversy and a last-ditch effort to divert attention. Henyard blamed Corral, saying that regardless of the growing evidence and public outcry, the assistant should have spoken up much sooner. "You were on this board, so we never discussed this. You should have been putting the same effort into it when you weren't saying a word a year ago," she said. Tension is evident as the investigation into Henyard's activities, along with the growing number of victims and whistleblowers, reaches a boiling point as she continues to defiantly hold onto her position of authority. One thing is certain though, the drama is far from overdone. If you haven't already, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more coverage on the ongoing scandal surrounding Tiffany Henyard and Dalton's future. Forward has created a whirlwind of scandal that she can no longer ignore. Will Tiffany Henyard finally be held accountable for her actions, or will she be able to avoid the consequences once more? Until we meet again, thanks for watching Visual Vortex.